The night sky was a canvas of twinkling promises. He held her hand, calloused but strong. "You'll never know hardship," he vowed, his voice thick with emotion. "Not while I'm here." She believed him. Their love was new, a fragile bud in the spring of their lives. He would protect her, shield her from the world's harsh edges. It was a vow etched in his soul. 30 years had passed since that night. The stars still shone, but their brilliance seemed dimmer now, clouded by time and unspoken words. His promise remained, an unyielding anchor in his heart. Every brushstroke, every late night, every sacrifice was a testament to that vow. He had built his life around it, a fortress of love and labor. But fortresses, he was learning, could sometimes become prisons. And the people you loved most, the very ones you sought to protect, could find themselves locked outside. The scent of turpentine and oil paint clung to him like a second skin. It was the smell of his labor, his love, his sacrifice. He moved with the practiced grace of a craftsman, his brush dancing across the canvas. Each stroke was deliberate, infused with the quiet desperation of a man determined to provide. He painted dreams onto other people's walls, while his own remained bare, yearning for his touch. His days were long, stretching from the first light of dawn to the weary hours past midnight. He chased deadlines like a man possessed, driven by the memory of his promise. His work was his art, but it was also his burden, a weight he carried with stoic resolve. He was the provider, the protector, the silent pillar upon which their lives were built. But in his pursuit of security, he had inadvertently built walls of absence. Each missed dinner, each postponed outing, another brick in the edifice of their estrangement. The dinner table, once a haven of warmth and laughter, had become an uneasy truce. He ate in silence, the weight of his exhaustion a palpable presence. His wife sat across from him, her face etched with a weariness that mirrored his own. Their son, a teenager on the cusp of manhood, ate with the distracted air of someone eager to escape the oppressive silence. He longed to bridge the chasm that had grown between them, to explain the depth of his love, the reasons behind his tireless efforts. But the words wouldn't come. He was a man of action, not words. He expressed his love through his labor, his sacrifice. But they craved his presence, not his presence. They yearned for his time, his attention, the simple gift of his company. And in his relentless pursuit of a better life, he had unwittingly deprived them of the very thing they held most dear. He knew his son thought him distant, preoccupied with his work. He overheard the whispered conversations, the frustrated sighs. "He's always working," his son would say, his voice tinged with resentment. "It's like we're not even a family anymore." His wife would try to explain, her voice weary but firm. "He does it for us," she would say. "He loves us." But the seed of doubt had been planted, watered by his constant absences. He became a ghost in his own home, a shadowy figure glimpsed through the haze of fatigue. They grew accustomed to his absence, learned to navigate their lives around his workaholic schedule. They built their own routines, their own memories, their own sense of normalcy in the space he left vacant. And with each passing day, the wall of misunderstanding grew higher, the mortar of unspoken words hardening into an impenetrable barrier. The letter arrived on a day like any other, tucked innocuously amidst the bills and junk mail. He almost threw it away, mistaking it for an advertisement. But something, perhaps a flicker of intuition, made him pause. He recognized his son's handwriting, neat and precise, a stark contrast to his own scrawling script. He opened it slowly, his calloused fingers trembling slightly. The words blurred before his eyes, their meaning hitting him with the force of a physical blow. His son had graduated top of his class, secured a prestigious job, a life beyond their small town. He was moving out, taking his mother with him, to an apartment provided by his company. They were leaving, starting a new chapter without him. He reread the letter, searching for a hint of malice, a trace of blame, but there was none. Just the simple, heartbreaking truth. They were moving on, and he was left behind standing amidst the ruins of his sacrifice, the bitter taste of irony stinging his throat. The silence of the empty house was deafening. He wandered from room to room, his footsteps echoing in the stillness. The air was thick with the ghosts of their laughter, the memory of their presence. He ran his hand over the worn fabric of the couch, picturing his wife curled up with a book, their son sprawled at her feet, lost in a video game. The image seared his heart, a painful reminder of all he had lost. He had worked so hard, sacrificed so much, all for them. He had kept his promise, shielded them from want and hardship. But in doing so, he had inadvertently built a wall between them, a wall made of missed moments, unsaid words, and the heavy burden of his absence. He had become a stranger in his own home, a ghost haunting the edges of their lives. And now they were gone, leaving him to face the hollow echo of his choices. The streets were cold, unforgiving. He huddled beneath a threadbare blanket, seeking solace from the biting wind. Hunger gnawed at his belly, a constant companion to his despair. How had it come to this? He, a man who had always provided, reduced to begging for scraps. The irony was a bitter pill to swallow. But even in the depths of his despair, a flicker of hope remained. He clung to the memory of their love, the echo of their laughter. He had failed them, yes, but he still loved them, with every fiber of his being. He prayed that one day they would understand, that they would see past his mistakes and recognize the depth of his sacrifice. He dreamt of the day they might find their way back to him, not as strangers, but as the family they were always meant to be. It was this hope, this unwavering love that kept him going, fueled his spirit, and warmed him from within. He saw their faces in the crowds, heard their voices in the wind. Every passing car held the possibility of them returning, their arms outstretched in forgiveness. He knew it was foolish, this relentless hope. But he couldn't extinguish it, not entirely. It was the only thing that kept him tethered to sanity, to humanity. Love, he realized, was a double-edged sword. It had the power to elevate and to destroy, to heal and to wound. He had loved them fiercely, protectively, but in his desire to shield them from the world's harsh realities, he had inadvertently exposed them to a different kind of pain, the pain of absence, of emotional neglect. He had built his love on a foundation of sacrifice, but he had forgotten to nurture the very thing he was sacrificing for, their connection, their shared moments, their sense of family. It was a painful lesson, learned too late. The story of his life was far from over. It was a story of love and loss, of sacrifice and regret, of hope and despair. It was a story that played out on the grand stage of life, with all its complexities and contradictions. He had made mistakes, grave ones, but he was still their father, and his love for them remained, an unyielding force that transcended his circumstances. Would they ever find their way back to each other? Would forgiveness be possible? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. His love for them would endure, a beacon in the darkness, a testament to the enduring power of the human heart. He could only hope that one day they would see the light, and together they might begin to write a new chapter, one filled with understanding, forgiveness, and the enduring power of love.